When we're talking about the things that affect Canadians or New Brunswickers the most, you really need to engage municipal governments, local governments. We are the first on the ground to feel the fallout of anything, right? And municipal budgets are going to be hit hard by inflation. We're going to get hit hard by tariffs. And that all equates to less affordability for Canadians across the board, because if we don't get proper funding from other orders of government, the only way that in New Brunswick, particularly because 85% of our revenue comes from property taxes, the only way that we can meet the expenses that are coming our way is to raise our tax rates. And that's not delivering affordability to Canadians.
As we enter the back half of the 45th general election here in Canada, we are continuing our journey with speaking with municipal leaders from coast to coast to coast. From housing to infrastructure, from bail reform to resource development, and from agriculture to social services, municipalities across Canada are tackling a wide range of challenges, but they can't do it alone. They need strong and reliable partners at the federal level to help build stronger, more resilient communities. Today, we're heading to the East Coast to focus in on the province of New Brunswick. Now, in the 2021 general election, the Liberal Party of Canada, under then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, garnered 42.4% of the vote, winning 6 of the 10 seats in the province. The Conservatives, under then Leader Erin O'Toole, won the other 4 seats in the province, winning 33.6% of the vote. Now, the NDP and the Greens failed to gain any seats in the province during that last election, but in the 2019 federal election, the Green Party of Canada won their first ever seat in the province. And in the 2015 federal election, the Liberal Party swept the province with all 10 seats going to that party. While in the 2011 general election, the Conservative Party took 8 seats, the NDP won 1, and the Liberals won the other seat in the province. Now today, to talk about the province and what municipalities are looking for from their local candidates, party leaders, and next federal government, we are pleased to be joined by the Union of Municipalities New Brunswick President Brittany Merrifield. So without further ado, let's go. Across Canada, our cities, towns, villages, and rural communities are alive with stories waiting to be told. Stories of innovation and economic development, resilience in the face of the housing challenges, and the financial hurdles municipalities overcome every day. At the Cross Border Network, we bring these stories to life. From coast to coast to coast, we're connecting Canadians to the issues shaping our communities and showcasing the people working tirelessly to make them thrive. With your support, we can expand our reach, amplify more voices, and shine a light on the challenges and triumphs of municipal life. For as little as $3.99 a month, you can help us grow and continue sharing the stories that matter most. Join us today and be part of this important mission. Together, we can tell more stories, build stronger communities, and make a real difference. Support the Cross Border Network now. Visit www.crossborderinterviews.ca today. President, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about election 2025, which as of recording, we are halfway through this election. It seems like it just started yesterday, but we are now halfway through. From a New Brunswick municipal perspective, what are municipalities in the province hoping to hear from local candidates and the party leaders as we enter the second half of this campaign?
Listen, it's all about infrastructure funding, and it's all about housing. The Housing Accelerator Fund has been massively successful as far as every municipality that's received the funding is concerned. It's really, really moving the needle on housing, on getting new building starts going. It's been, I can speak from our personal experience here in Grand Bay Westfield. We were fortunate enough to receive Housing Accelerator Fund money, and it's making a difference. We would like to see that funding continue. We would like to see more and more iterations of that funding, etc. The other thing that we're really interested in, again, is infrastructure funding. As you know, in New Brunswick, we have over a $2 billion infrastructure deficit. that's only going to get bigger as the years go on. And now that we're looking at the impacts of tariffs, we're looking at the impacts of inflation, that number is going to balloon exponentially. That's really important. We need funds for water, we need wastewater funding, all of those things, so that municipalities can not only deal with the growth that that's coming our way, but also deal with aging critical infrastructure as well.
Now, I might be a little ignorant here, so I apologize this question, but from what I can gather from the leaders tour, they have not made a stop in New Brunswick yet, or if they have, there hasn't been all the major party leaders. Have you heard anything from the party leaders, whether they've been while they've been in New Brunswick or in their crisscrossing of Canada, that makes you a little bit at ease when it comes to addressing these issues if they form the next federal government?
Well, we have had two of the major party leaders here, one just before the election and one during the campaign. So that's a good thing. It's important that they hear that story of New Brunswick. I know that one party has talked about canceling the Housing Accelerator Fund, which causes great concern in the municipal sector. They have said that they will rejig that. And I don't know that if the leader has come out publicly during this campaign saying that, but they will look at infrastructure funding, but we don't know what that looks like. And that is concerning. I know that the Liberal Party has talked about their new housing strategy and what that's going to look like. From a New Brunswick perspective, we're all about that. We need the housing. We need roofs over heads and all of that kind of stuff. The Liberal leader has talked about development charges and making municipalities whole. We do have to keep in mind that not everybody is Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. In New Brunswick, we don't have development charges the way that they do in other jurisdictions, but we still have a lot of the same costs, and we're trying to get housing built. We're trying to remove barriers, but we need help with the infrastructure. So I'm hoping that within that platform somewhere, we see what the plan is for smaller, rural, and suburban municipalities, as opposed to just large urban centers.
While the party leaders all haven't been in New Brunswick, I can imagine local candidates have been in the election, the premise so far, and knocking on doors, crisscrossing the province for themselves. What are you hearing from local candidates? Because we have to remember, in our great Canadian democracy, it's the people with the most seats the party with the most seats who win. And to get seats, you have to knock on doors. So are you hearing from mayors, councillors across the province that local candidates are addressing the needs for housing in New Brunswick? Because I can imagine this is top of mind for a lot of your mayors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know what I'm hearing more is I'm hearing them deal more with local concerns. There's been a lot of local engagement with residents, as opposed to the larger issues that maybe municipalities would deal with. One really local issue that is I don't know if you've ever heard of Campobello Island. It is a small island in a cluster called the Fundy Isle. So it's right off the coast of mainland New Brunswick. And the only way you can get to Campobello Island is either via a ferry, which is seasonal, so it does not run all winter long, or through Lubec, Maine. So a lot of their supplies come from Maine. So that's been a real issue in New Brunswick with respect to the tariffs. What's going to happen with Campobello Island? And we've seen candidates from all parties advocate for Campobello Island to be sort of apart and not part of the reciprocal tariffs. So that's one of the New Brunswick issues that I've heard.
Are you Are you concerned with everything going on in the global world right now, with everything, and in a future episode of Municipal Affairs, we're going to be talking about tariffs, but in everything that's going on in the global realm right now, are you concerned that these municipal issues, whether it be infrastructure, whether it be the Campobello Island, may be drowned out and may not take a front seat, which to me, they need to take that front seat. They need to be talked about because municipalities are in a very hard place right now.
Yeah, and you know what? I when I was in Washington, D.C. Recently, I was speaking with someone, and they said, right now we're not just dealing with a three-ring circus. We're dealing with a 12 ring circus, and every one of those rings is on fire. So there's a lot of competition to be heard about issues. But, when we're talking about the things that affect Canadians or New Brunswickers the most, you really need to engage municipal governments, local governments. We are the first on the ground to feel the fallout of anything, right? And municipal budgets are going to be hit hard by inflation. We're going to get hit hard by tariffs. And that all equates to less affordability for Canadians across the board, because if we don't get proper funding from other orders of government, the only way that in New Brunswick, particularly because 85% of our revenue comes from property taxes, the only way that we can meet the expenses that are coming our way is to raise our tax rates. And that's not delivering affordability to Canadians.
While you are president of the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick, you are also an ex officio member of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, who has been calling for the last, I'd say, about a year and a half, almost 2 years now, for the federal, provincial, and municipal governments to come to the table and talk about a new fiscal framework. Are you hearing anything from local candidates? Are you optimistic? Has your newly elected premier last year, Susan Holt, come out and said if they're willing to have this conversation, because municipalities and provinces need to come on board, and then the federal government, I'm assuming, would come on board? Are you hearing that people are interested in that conversation in New Brunswick?
Yeah, well, federally, it's not something that I've heard a lot from the candidates. However, provincially, it's something that the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick has been very, very successful in making sure the local provincial candidates here, and now our local MLAs, now that election has gone by, are very, very conversant with. In fact, our minister is in the ledge today in main estimates talking about municipal fiscal reform and what that package is going to look like for New Brunswick. So very much looking forward to hearing what that is. The premier has committed to meeting the funding gap that exists, and our associations have identified that as a $200 million gap annually, and that's just a starting point. So yeah, we are moving the needle on that here in New Brunswick, and what that looks like federally remains to be seen.
New Brunswick is kind of a bellwether province. In the last few elections, I was looking back because I'm a data guy. You have voted Conservative, you have voted Liberal, you have voted NDP. You've actually elected a Green member in 2019. They did switch the floor to go to the Liberals. So all parties are in play. What should residents of New Brunswick be asking their local candidates when they come out door knocking that would help municipalities get municipal issues on the table?
Well, I think they need to talk about, who's going to be helping municipalities fund the infrastructure that they need, that they use every day. I think that's a real issue, because that's a quality of life issue. It's an economic development issue. It's an affordability issue. We need to be talking about housing every single day. And we need to be talking about affordable housing and homelessness. We need to talk about all of those things. When you drive the streets, you're on the streets, you're driving by, people that are living rough. All of those things. Those are all things that we can be asking our local candidates. What are you doing to move the needle on that?
So my final question is, what are you hoping as president of the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick from the next federal government? Because we are now less than 20 days away from voting, and that means in 21 days, potentially, we're going to have a new government with a new prime minister, depending on who it is. What are you hoping that the next federal government does to help alleviate some of the challenges that municipalities are faced with?
I'm really looking for a partner. I'm looking for a partner that sees the value that this order of government brings to the nation, that recognizes that without municipal governments, without local governments, they would not be able to meet their targets, their goals, and that we're a partner in making sure that their priorities are realized. That's really what I'm hoping for.
Perfect. President Merrifield, I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about this election. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Canada Votes 2025. Now, if you've enjoyed today's conversation and gained some valuable insights, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platforms or on YouTube. And if you can, follow us on social media wherever you can find us. at Cross Border Network. Now, if you want to learn more about the communities and the people we feature on this show and our sister shows, be sure to visit us online at crossborderinterviews.ca. Your support means the world to us, so share this episode with your friends, your family, and yes, even your community, and help keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll be back with a brand new episode of Municipal Affairs Canada Votes 2025 shortly. Till then, everyone.